retired a little early with 27 years. I was going for 30. I literally became their full-time caregiver. When I got to Detroit, they were both in a rehab hospital. Pop was on one end of the hospital and Mom was on the other. And when they came out, there was really no one to take care of. The teachers can't encourage meditation because they don't meditate. The teachers can't encourage breath work because they don't. The teachers can't encourage the social and emotional intelligence or present the tools and give them the practice and exercises for them, because you know what they're doing all day long is putting out fires. All teachers do all day long.
All right, welcome to another edition of Living Boldly with Purpose, and I'm Dr. B. I'm your host, and I was just telling Queen how excited I am about us really putting together a show today. She happens to be in Mexico. She's going to tell us about how she got to Mexico, and I'm excited to hear that story. But she is there, and so we're expecting the technology to work like it does when I talk to people from Australia, talk to people from Korea, talk to people from China, wherever we're at in the world, we're going to make sure that this all works. I've even got some South America folks, and the technology seems almost to work better sometimes when I'm talking to folks all around the world. And so, quite the story that we're going to talk about. We were just talking about, sometimes our lives and the things that we do in life, we just go, is this season or this, the little blip in our life, is it going to end? Because it just seems to be so chaotic. It's so crazy and all the things that happen. She was just telling me stories about like packages not coming in and oh my gosh, here's all the things. I have a son. Happy birthday, Ray. It's his birthday today. We're on die for
Happy birthday, Ray.
No, I have another son, Stefan. His birthday is tomorrow. And so
wow.
July is a birthday month, and it happens all at the beginning of the month. But man, just to think, we got the holidays coming. Here in America, we got holidays just to have holidays to have holidays. We're celebrating holidays. So every month we got something going on, whether Mother's Day, Father's Day, Independence Day, birthday, look at your mom day. I mean, whatever it is, we find a way not to work. But at the same time, what I think is so neat about holidays is it gives us a chance to create relationships. And relationships are the most important things that we could possibly do. And so we need to take time off, and they have to force us to take time off, or the banks are closed, or we can't go to the store.
Right.
So that we can then spend time with the people we love the most is so worth it. It really is. And we're going to have family over here. My dad, you talk about a crazy June, my dad decided to get married last Sunday. And so this is not his first marriage. But it is one that you go, how did this come so fast and so happen? So his wife passed away. It wasn't my mom. His next wife passed away about a year and a half ago. And he was grieving in a big way, as a person, because when you get older and you're retired and you're just, you pass the time, hopefully with somebody.
With your person. Right? Yeah.
So she passed away. So, and then the lady he married on Sunday, her husband passed away about a year ago. And so she was going through the same grieving process. And so the person at the funeral home put them together and said, I know your spouse has passed away, but you guys get to know each other. So I did that. So I work as a chaplain as well. So I did the ceremony. But it was a different ceremony than I've ever done during weddings before, because of all their history and because of military and pensions and retirements and all the things that our society says. If you want to keep this, you can't do this. And if you want your medical insurance to be, you can't be married to this person or whatever. So this wasn't an official, we're going down to the courthouse and signing a marriage license marriage.
It was ceremonial.
Yeah, this was a ceremony. And I actually had them, I said you were going to jump the broom, but they're 86 years old. So we said we walked
Okay.
over the broom. We stepped over the broom.
Just
But
step
I was
over it.
able to
Okay.
kind of really talk about history and how the same
That's
thing happened
funny.
in African American history when we were slaves. That we weren't
Yes.
allowed to get married because we were property and we were owned, and the slave owner could then
That's
sell
the,
you. But there were still reasons for people to be together, and so we celebrated
yes.
that, and it was so fun
That
to
is
be able to
beautiful.
do and to see how together they're going to keep each other alive at least
Yeah.
till they're both 100. So
As they continue this
oh
journey.
my gosh,
Yeah.
they're so happy and excited, and great grandkids were there, and it was just fun to do. And so,
Blessings.
yeah. So
Blessings.
even though June can be chaotic and July can have things, there are certain things in life that just seem to be so beautiful. And so I have Queen on today. I've asked her to tell her story. And I told her story. I tell her about story can start at your mama's womb, and they laugh at me like, "Are
Right.
you just born? You remember?" But however, wherever she wants to start, it's her story. And my favorite part is because people want to know who you are more than they want to know
Mm-hmm.
what you do. We'll get to what you
Mm-hmm.
do and how
Mm-hmm.
you get through life,
Mm-hmm.
but who you are is what makes people trust you. It makes people want to watch more, makes
Yes.
people want to be part of your life. And so I can't wait, Queen, to figure out and know who you are, because I have a feeling we're going to be great friends for the rest of our lives.
I feel the same way. I feel the same
I
way.
love it, love it. So the floor is yours. We'll chop it up after you're done with your story. But thank you for being on
Chop
today,
it
and
up.
thank you for just being willing to take the time with me today.
But thank you for allowing me to tell my story. Because one thing we love to do is talk about us. But and just thank you for that. My story, as far as sharing with your audience, I'm going to start with retirement. I'm a retired elementary and middle school teacher, 27 years. And I retired at the time. I was living in Atlanta, but I've taught across the country. Detroit, Michigan, where I was born and raised, Las Vegas, Nevada, where I spent 11 years, and then Atlanta, where I retired. Now, I retired a little early with 27 years. I was going for 30, but those last 3 years seemed like an eternity. So at 27, I stepped back and I retired. And I very soon learned that, hey, I'm going to have to supplement this pension
Mhm.
because it's just not enough, right? And okay, cool. So that first year I was doing all kind of stuff, really cool stuff. I was an Uber driver and Lyft and Postmates. I was a shuttle driver for an engineer for train company that took conductors and engineers to and from their trains. I did some curriculum design work. I mean, I was doing my thing and kind of loving it, right? But after a year, I said, hey, wait a minute. I'm going to always have to do this. I'm going to always have to work. And I didn't want to be 70 years old saying, welcome to Walmart. I mean, we
Ooh, yes.
everywhere. They're in Walmart and airports and retail and restaurants, and they are not working because they want to. They're working because they have to. And I just did not want to continue to work until I couldn't work anymore, and then live substandardly because I wasn't working. You see, I didn't feel like I owed anyone or anything my life. And here's the deal. Say if I did stick around and became that driver, that shuttle driver, or that working at Walmart. Here's the thing. I would only be working to pay bills. See, there
Mm.
would be no weekend getaways. There would be no fine dining. There would be no concerts. I would work and pay bills. Work and pay bills. Again, until I couldn't work anymore, and then live substandardly. So it came to me. I came across an article in International Living, the top 10 places to retire. And I started researching them. Yeah, I'm a teacher, I'm in the research and what have you. I always take copious notes and what have you. And I came across And at that time, and this was like in 2016, it was Panama, Costa Rica, Mexico, Thailand, Colombia, Nicaragua, Ecuador, and I even, checked out Africa, but I came across what checked all the boxes for me was Mexico. Mexico has 32 states. And I came across the state of Jalisco. Jalisco houses the largest freshwater lake in the country of Mexico. It's called Lake Chapala. Now, surrounding that lake are little towns and villages. And on the north shore of that lake is the largest expat community in the country of Mexico. Those who are citizens of other countries but reside in a different country. They call them expatriates, but expats for short. Okay. So it has the largest expat community in the country of Mexico. And it checked all three boxes. First of all, the location. From Atlanta, it was only a 3.5-hour nonstop flight into Guadalajara, okay, which is the capital of Jalisco, and then a 30-minute ride into town. That's the first box. The second box was climate. Lake Chapala was voted by National Geographic to be the second best climate in the world because it's eternally spring. Now, see, it's a wet spring and a dry spring, but it's spring nonetheless. Which is my favorite. Right? And then the third box was the expat community. Because it was so large, Americans and Canadians, it made my landing extremely soft. Now, I researched a year and a half before I actually took that leap into Mexico by myself, up against quite a few arguments from friends and families, against the cartel and this and that and the other. And how could you? But boy, when I got over there, I'm going to tell you this. 4 months after arriving there, I ran into Jerry Brown. Jerry Brown is from Jerry Brown Travels on YouTube. And I had watched all of his YouTube stories about, because he was living in Lake Chapala. And when I saw him, I said, "Hey, I know you." And we started talking, and he asked me to come on his show, which I did. And I was his first Black person to ever be featured on the Jerry Brown Travels show. And I tell you, at that point, his channel blew up.
Hey, it's Dr. B, and let me ask you something just here real quick. Are you tired of doing the same thing over and over and not getting the results you want? Are you serious about making some changes this year that will impact you in a huge way? Maybe you're putting out content right now and it's not turning into customers, or maybe you're uploading videos, but you're not sure why or how it's even gonna help. I've seen a lot of people that are making a whole bunch of cold calls to the wrong people, and no one's answering. No one wants to talk to you. It might just be that you're just doing what you've been doing and crossing your fingers, hoping it finally works this year. But let me tell you what, that is not a strategy, and it will continue not to work. That's why I created the Podcasting Challenge, and it's coming up fast. In just a few days, I'm going to walk you through the mindset, the tool set, and the skill set you need to create a powerful podcast. That's right, a podcast. You won't believe what a podcast can do. One that builds real value and creates new clients. And if you grab a VIP ticket, you'll get to join me for a daily Zoom Q&A sessions where I'll personally answer your questions and help you tailor everything to your goals. This is your moment. This is your year. Go to thepodcastingchallenge.com right now and save your seat. The link is in the show notes and the description. Thank you for watching these podcasts. Now let's get back to the conversation.
Questions are coming in about this question, about this. And I was trying to answer them all. I'll answer this question. I'll answer this question. I said, hey, wait a minute. I can just write a book and tell them about my experience of moving from Atlanta to Mexico. And I did. It's called Considerations, a Guide for Moving Abroad. 10 chapters. Each chapter is a consideration. Consider visas. Consider finances. Consider downsizing. I don't know if you can see it right here. That's my Considerations of the Soul. So I wrote that book, and I tell you again, now people's eyes are starting to open up. I mean, because especially middle-aged Black women, they were really, tuning into this and seeing that it was possible because someone had done it. Right. And next thing I know, I was consulting, and I also started like this little concierge service, as people started landing. But all the while that was going on, all the while I was just thriving Lakeside, I experienced during this time a spiritual awakening. Okay. Lakeside was known by this yogi. He has a very long name. 1929, he had predicted that area was going to be an area of a very strong mass awakening, spiritual awakening. It has a vortex there. It has the mountains there. It has the lake there. It has so many factors that help me tune in to me. Now, mind you, I'm not in the States working anymore. I got time to tune in to me. And I tuned in. Meditation, yoga, hiking. I tell you, I can show you a picture when I first arrived there. I was over 200 pounds, and I'm only 5'1". Started hiking, man. I lost 40 pounds. The food there is, is like from farm to table. So I'm eating well. I'm living well. It was a beautiful, beautiful time in my life. I moved there in December of 2017. I was there for 4 years. And in 2021, towards the end of 2021, I was getting ready to start a workshop called Your Soul's Journey. Your Soul's Journey. And I had pulled in all of a meditation guru, a movement guru, a music guru. We had all got together, and it was going to be the third Saturday of every month from 10 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, every Saturday for 8 months, right? This workshop. And I gave a presentation, and people had signed up because during that time I wrote another book called Traveling Home Together. This is basically my spiritual awakening and moving into tuning into yourself, tuning from the external inward, where every answer you ever needed to know is within. Because if I'm not mistaken, did Jesus not say the kingdom of God is within? Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. And it certainly is. And that's what I mean by spiritual awakening, Christ consciousness, So anyway, here I go. At the beginning of the year, we were going to start this program. And then I got the call. The call was from Detroit, where I was born and raised, where my mom and pop were in dire straits. They had both left the house via ambulance within a week of each other. Wow. Pop was 99 with dementia. Mom was 86 with her own set of problems. And understand this, I was led to believe that everything was fine in Detroit. Everybody, I have 2 older brothers, Dumb and Dumber. And I was led to believe that everything was fine. Yeah. In Detroit. So when I left to go check on mom and pop, I told, my friends, I said, hey guys, I'm getting ready to head, back home. I got to check on mom and pop. I figured I'd be gone a couple of months. I was going to get in where I fit in, make sure everything was everything. When I arrived in Detroit, in the dead of winter, 2021, I literally became their full-time caregiver. When I got to Detroit, they were both in a rehab hospital. Pop was on one end of the hospital and mom was on the other. And when they came out, there was really no one to take care of them. And so, unexpectedly, now I'm there. Yeah. And I continued to pay rent on my place, my beautiful 1-bedroom condo in Mexico for 10 months. while I was there, but I took care of mom and pop, and that was really tough. Learning the ins and outs of full-time caregiving and being that caregiver. I had the help of my son. I bless his heart. I thank him so very much for that. They both passed away in 2022, within 10 months of each other. Pop in February and mom on New Year's Eve. Okay. Now, I stayed on there. But during the time that I was there and taking care of mom and pop, my niece had a birthday. And all that work I said I had done for the workshop, the startup. I had wrote another book besides Traveling Home Together. This one was called 52 Insights for Living New Earth Now. 52 Insights for Living New Earth Now. Now, when I came to Detroit, take care of mom and pop, all of that work, I kind of just pushed it to the side. I mean, it sat for like 2 years. But my niece, she had a birthday coming up, and I looked at that book, 52 Insights for Living New Earth Now. I said, that'd be a nice gift. It's just sitting here. So I took the book and I put it in a bag along with a bottle of wine and a candle and a card. And I gave it to her for a birthday. And she started thumbing through the book, and she said, Auntie, this would be great for high school. Now, she's a high school basketball coach. Okay. So she said, this would be great for high school. And I said, it would. Yeah. It's just sitting here. And I started having thoughts about it, and I talked with another relative who's a retired teacher and administrator who is now living in Lake Chapala. And I was talking to her, and she said, oh, no. She said, that's middle school all day long. And I tell you, something exploded in me, something activated in me, like it's even hard to explain. And from that, I began writing a curriculum to go with 52 Insights for Living New Earth Now. But when she said it was for middle school, she said that's more for middle school. That would be good for middle school. I had to do a deep dive into middle school. Who is middle school? I've been disconnected. So I did a deep dive, deep, into Generation Alpha. Let me tell you a little bit about Generation Alpha. Generation Alpha was born between 2010 and 2024. The oldest of that generation turned 13 last year. They are the children of the millennials and some exes who kind of got into it, got in the game a little late. They are the first generation to be born fully in the 21st century, meaning that they are swiping and clicking and scrolling in infancy. Okay. And they will be the largest generation in the history of the world. They are the generation responsible for the conscious evolution of humanity. They have a huge role. And here's the thing about Generation Alpha and where I came to fit in. They are a different breed completely. Now, where we have let them down, and no fault of our own, especially the millennials. Here's the thing. Since the tablet and the phone went in hand practically from infancy, what the millennials saw was like, oh, shoot, I can get the dishes. I can do this. I can do that. See, remember, Sesame Street went off. But that does not. So they are the generation who has been taught mainly, always, only externally. Okay. Now, where we've dropped the ball with them is that, okay, remember when we were in school? I don't know. I'm much older than you, but when I was in
I
school,
don't know.
we had classes like home economics
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
shop and auto mechanics and
Yeah.
typing and things of that nature that prepared us for our world,
Yeah.
that we would be stepping into. Here's the thing, and this is where we've neglected, and there's this huge gap with Generation Alpha. See, and understand, I'm talking about Beyonce kids and Carly B kids and Nick Cannon 12 kids and that whole generation where we've dropped the ball. And I'm not blaming or pointing fingers at all. We all do the very best we can. Is that we haven't given them the social, emotional intelligence or the tools necessary to navigate their world. You understand? We're not going, but they are. But we haven't given them the tools. Like we were given to tools to navigate our world.
Yeah.
We haven't given them the tools to navigate theirs. So when I say the tools, I'm talking about conscious decision making, social awareness, relationship skills, and those activities and practices that will connect them and balance them socially. It's called emotional intelligence, okay, to navigate this world out there. So it's a huge gap in that. So I created a teacher's manual, if you will, or learner's guide and I changed not what the content that was in there, but I changed the name. It is now 52 Insights for Gen Alpha, a conscious curriculum.
Man.
Now, what I came to realize is that all that work I did back in Mexico, it was never for who I thought it was going to, the audience I thought it was going to be for. The universe is perfect. Yeah. You understand? And things, all the coordinating components will come together. It was, and had I known it was for that, I probably would have messed it up. But in its purest content, it is for Generation Alpha. So I created the lesson plan for each lesson, and it's 52 lessons, which is 52 quotes. But then it dives deeper into, because I also had a YouTube channel, Moving Inward and Onward. I also had a blog for 2 years called Flowing and Growing. Those two components coincide with the book. And I had an opportunity. Check out the universe. I had the opportunity to pilot the program in 2 middle schools in Detroit this past school year.
Wow.
Now, how did that go?
I want to know.
And this is what I mean by the disconnect. And because here's the thing. The book is for, the curriculum is for 12, 13, and 14-year-olds, okay? 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. Remember, the oldest of that generation just turned 13 last year. So I got into 2 schools by the skin of my teeth. That's a whole nother story, but I'm in. Yeah. So now I'm training the teachers, and I borrowed money from an aunt, with the promise that, hey, this is important because I needed to, produce the books and the manuals and what have you. And I did. But here's the deal. Because there's such a disconnect, and we're not at a point where they're a different breed. Generation Alpha is a different breed. You have to come at them differently. And it's a conscious curriculum. And this is what I found out immediately as I worked with the teachers and the students.
Hello, this is Dr. B, and I want to ask you one simple question. What if if you died having never become you? Now, I don't mean the version of you that worked the job, raised the kids, or chased security. I mean the person God actually designed you to be, the real you. Because there's a version of your life that's already been written, and it's full of peace, it's full of boldness, it's full of purpose, and of course it's full of power. But most people, many people, they miss it. They live distracted, doubting, disconnected, and deep down they wonder, is this really all there is? But not you and not today. That's why we created the Becoming the Person universe. It's a living, breathing community of people saying, I want to be who God called me to be. Not someday, but right now. So inside, we'll walk you through 3 levels of transformation. Level 1 is all about identity, where you finally see yourself clearly and know exactly who you are and who you need to become. Level 2 is about mastery, where we develop the disciplines to grow. And then finally, level 3 is legacy, where your life begins to matter beyond you. And hear me. I want you to hear me clear here. This is not a place to passively belong. This is a place to grow, lead, and thrive. We even have ways for you to share in the revenue as we grow, because we believe in building legacy together. And I want you to know the founders and I are praying for you. We have been praying for you. You have been on our hearts. Yes, you have been on our hearts. You're not watching this by accident. And I want to personally invite you to the next info meeting, where we will go over all this community has to offer. All you do is just click the link before, you know what to do. But now it's your turn. I want to ask you to ask yourself, what if this is the moment everything changes? What if this is the reason you've been searching? What if all God has been waiting for is for you to say yes? There's a seat for you here, whether you're rediscovering yourself or finally ready to leave a legacy and are ready to contribute. Either way, this is the Becoming the Person universe. And once you're in, your life will never be the same. So I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait to spend time with you. I can't wait to see you on the other side. So let's go live in that purpose, and let's do it together.
Unconscious can't teach consciousness.
Whoa. Hello. I'm with you. I'm with you 1,000%.
The teachers can't take them on a journey that they've never been. You know, the teachers can't encourage meditation because they don't meditate. The teachers can't encourage breath work because they don't breathe. The teachers can't encourage the social and emotional intelligence, or present the tools and give them the practice and exercises for them, because you know what they're doing all day long is putting out fires. All teachers do all day long is put out fires. Administration is coming down on them. These kids are 2 and 3 grade levels behind due to the pandemic. They have so much junk that's being put into their systems that take away from them being able to settle in to learn. And the teachers, listen, I ain't blaming them. They got families and houses and kids of their own. So they come into this battlefield, and here I say, all right, let's have them breathe. Here I say, okay, let's have them meditate. Now, a couple of teachers who actually kind of looked at it and tried to, incorporate some things were the music teacher, the drama teacher, content teacher. And I get it. How could you? You're a math teacher and you're unconscious. How could you? You're an English teacher and you're unconscious. I get it. And you're putting out fires. So my thought was, why can't there be a class
just for this
that they go to? I'm not saying, a class, that shop class or that home economics class or that, just that class, that we can start introducing some tools. Because I know that they will resonate with it. It will activate in their DNA because it's for them, because they are, again, will be the largest generation in the history of the world and will move and are responsible for the conscious evolution of humanity. So, I did pilot the program, and you could take a look at that on my website. It's called Fula History and Genealogy Society in America. But where did that come from, right? 17 days after mom passed, remember Pop passed first and then mom, I had already planned a trip, an intentional trip to Africa. Guinea-Bissau, Africa, by the West Africa. And they said, Guinea-Bissau? I've never even heard of Guinea-Bissau out of the 54 sovereign countries in Africa. Here's the deal. Have you ever heard of Ancestry.com?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, okay, you take that DNA test in Ancestry.com. They'll tell you you're a little bit of this and you're a little bit of that and your region's over there. But 20 years ago, a group of Black scientists got together and they created the largest database of Black blood in the history of the world. In the world, it's called AfricanAncestry.com. Now, you take that DNA test, not only will it tell you what country out of the 54 sovereign countries on the continent of Africa, it'll also tell you your tribe. It'll tell you the original bloodline of your tribe. So I sent in for that DNA test. Mom was still alive when I did that. And I sent in for that DNA test. And I discovered that you can take it, your maternal or your paternal. I took the maternal side. And I discovered that I am Fula from Guinea-Bissau, West Africa, from the Fula tribe of Guinea-Bissau, West Africa. That means that my mother's mother, dating back anywhere between 250 years, survived the passage. She didn't jump off the ship. She didn't die of sickness on the ship. She wasn't killed on the ship. She survived the passage. Now, when she got here, she got mixed with a whole lot of other things, due to breeding, and rape. She was mixed with a whole lot. That's how come, you'll hear people say, I'm Indian. I got this in my family. I got this in my family. But your original bloodline, your pure bloodline, can be traced back to not only the country, but the tribe in Africa. And most likely, it's going to fall along that Western coast, during the because millions, along that. One of those, and Guinea-Bissau is just a little tiny country, on that western coast of Africa. So, armed with that knowledge, I did take a trip to Guinea-Bissau, West Africa. There are countries in Africa who are participating in repatriation, which means that if you can show through DNA testing, something like African ancestry, you show that your original bloodline is from that country, then you can apply for citizenship, of that country. And so I got with a repatriation group, doing my research before I took the trip. I got with a repatriation group called Repat, Guinea-Bissau, and they arranged for me and this was on my birthday. I gifted myself with this on my 60th birthday, to step foot in my ancestral village of Guinea-Bissau, West Africa, of the Fula village in Guinea-Bissau, West Africa. And when I returned, not only did I do Guinea-Bissau, West Africa, and apply for citizenship, and I can go back and get my passport and all of that, just due to that paperwork. However, that's another trip. And after I finished paying off the loan I took out to take the first trip, doggone it, I'm going back, but to get my passport. But I also, after my time in Guinea-Bissau, I went over to Egypt. And I spent 2 weeks in Egypt. I cruised the Nile. I, again, just connecting with my ancestors, just continuing to go within, and then be led from within out. I lead my life from within out. So when I returned, I started a nonprofit organization, which is called Fula History and Genealogy Society in America. One of the first tenets of the nonprofit is just to raise awareness about generational trauma. See, because we all have, and that is passed down. It is proven scientifically that is passed down through DNA. DNA is something. DNA is something. So generational trauma is passed down through DNA. But if trauma can be passed down through DNA, so can healing. Yep. Healing can be passed up through DNA. And it takes that one person. Ain't got to go to each person healing. It's just the acknowledgement. It's just the activation through your bloodline, of doing that work. That healing does begin. Everything will be taken care of. Again, like I say, the universe is perfect. So just raising awareness about generational trauma. The second tenet was to produce, create, and promote educational materials for the upliftment and enhancement of Generation Alpha. And then, hence, that's why my curriculum, if you go to the website, there is information about FULA. Then there's a tab that says 52 Insights. And then there's another tab called My Soul's Journey Home. That's the blog I wrote when I returned. And it gives you from the very time I took the test, have video, there's video and pictures. And my whole stay in Africa, from Guinea-Bissau over to Egypt. But chapter 7, there's a video. You will see me actually stepping foot into my ancestral village and being received by the Fula tribe in Africa. Chapter 7 on the blog that's on my nonprofit website. So with doing the pilot program and everything and finishing that up, it was kind of time. My time in Detroit, my time back home had come to an end. I had spent 3.5 years and 4 consecutive winters. 4 consecutive winters in Detroit, Michigan. It was time to go. But this time I didn't go back to Lakeside. I didn't go back. I wasn't called to return there. Again, I lived my life from within out. And I was called to, I am now, you are talking to me again. Mexico has 32 states. I am in the state of Chiapas. Now, Chiapas houses a lovely town called San Cristobal de las Casas. And that is where I moved on May 31st of this year. Matter of fact, with this being July 1st, I've been here 1 month today.
There we go.
I've been here 1 month today. And you know the story about me having to go back in 9 days to get that whole Fed. I'm writing about that too.
You should.
But I'm gonna put that. But I got a story to tell, so I will be writing about that. But I'm being called here, and I know that I'm here for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, to heal. I have some healing to do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I
have some healing to do. And again, I'm going deeper into my spiritual practices, just wanting to again raise my vibration and the vibration of as my work continue, again, as a light worker, a way shower, a frequency code holder, and a New Earth representative. And I'm here to polish the curriculum. I'm getting ready to remake the videos that go along with the curriculum. Because when I made those, remember it was for a different audience in a sense, And so I kind of want to remake those videos. So I'll spend the rest of the year doing that. And then come 2026, I'm getting ready to see who's out there and ready for this 52 insights for Gen Alpha, because I know I did not do and have not had all this work poured out into such a gift that it will sit and not be exposed. So it's going to be about me finding the audience, finding the company, finding the schoolers, those who are ready to implement it the way it should be, so that we can assist Generation Alpha in giving them the tools that they so desperately need to navigate that shift in consciousness and that a social, emotional, intelligent aspect that is missing.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, it just keeps going. I love it. I love it. You got more energy now than you probably had 25 years ago, which is so cool. I got so many questions. I've been taking notes right now and just thinking, because there's part of your life that we share. I was an educator. I taught high school. I taught junior high, taught elementary school. So I can identify when you're telling stories, and I'm identifying with the teachers that you're having these conversations with, because I know them, right? I have 16 grandkids, all of which are Generation Alpha. So the oldest she just turned 14. I had one that just turned 13 last week, and then it goes all the way down to 2024. So yeah, they're all 16 of them are in that spot. And one of the things I was noticing, like when we're having a conversation and we're talking about, being on the phone, we do this. You're like, okay, so remember, I was talking to the person like that. Here's what my granddaughter does right now. She holds up her hands as if she's looking at a screen. And one of the things that you were that you were saying, because they've been so embedded into the screens, because they're the first generation fully indoctrinated into 100% of the technology, and we try to relate and we can't. You think we don't even have the tools. Well, we don't understand the tools because we didn't have the tools. We haven't used the tools. We don't know the tools. And then AI shows up. And so the number one thing that's going to happen to this generation is having to utilize and deal with AI at the same time they're building relationships. And there's none of us who can teach them how to do that. We can teach them about relationships, and we can teach them about the technology we tried to use, but we're going to have to find some creative ways to learn from them.
There are exercises and practices that we can pull them into.
Yes.
That will ground them, because without that, they're out there. They're out there without these essential, necessary tools to navigate. They're not living, they're navigating. They are navigating the world. We didn't so much have to navigate ours. They told us what it was. We accepted it. We did it. And there we go. But they need to navigate AI and technology, and where they're going, we're not. But at least we can do is give them the tools.
And we have to think about navigate. Like trust and our ability to trust. Like you and I had these things called encyclopedias that we had to pull off a shelf, and we had to believe everything that was in that book. There was 26 volumes of whatever.
Come on now.
That was there.
Absolutely.
And then we jumped to this generation, and everything they need to know is at their fingertips. What they don't have is the relationship portion of it, and the ability, the emotional intelligence on how they're going to communicate back and forth with people, because they're bombarded with more information.
Absolutely.
And they're bombarded. Our information might have been fake, and we just didn't know it because there's no way.
True that. Absolutely. Come on now. You tell it. You tell the truth. You're telling the truth. We just believe
because they told us that that's what it was.
Exactly. And see, what they have to have or focus on, and what the curriculum does, it focuses on self-awareness through activities that foster mindfulness, self-management, relationship skills, social awareness, and conscious decision making. See, that whole self-management, they have to know when they got to turn it off, when it has to, when it has to be turned off. Relationship skills, just the exercises. We can't teach them how to have those relationships, but we can sure throw some practices and activities that help strengthen relationships. And then mindfulness is so very important, because if you don't become self-aware and mindfulness, you believe you are AI.
Well, here's a big thing that I see as a difference, because we were told or taught what to think. And
Exactly.
we're asking them to learn how to think. And if they don't learn how to think,
and not giving them the tools to do it, though.
Because we're still in this thing, we need to tell them this is what you need to think, or we need to tell them this is how the world is. But it's not what we're telling them. And I think of the teachers that I interact with sometimes, and I'm going, oh, where did that come from? You have no idea what their home life is like. You have no idea. All you have is your experience, and you can't even come close to relating.
So there is such. I witnessed it. I witnessed that. Like I said, I piloted this program. I tried to, and you will see a couple of students on the, like, if you click on 52 Insights, it gives the back, on the website, it gives the backstory. It'll show you the 2 schools that I was allowed it. It was listen, I was going to board meetings, and I went to the Detroit Public School board meeting, and, they give you 3 minutes. And at the board meeting, I'm going like this, because the board is sitting up on stage, and parents and teachers, they coming up to the mic and they're pointing fingers, you're a liar, and this and that and the other. And I mean, it was so ugly and so negative. And then it was my turn next. And then I come up and I said, well, hey guys, I have this wonderful curriculum that talks about mindfulness, and I go through that. And then they said, thank you. Next. I mean, like I said, They cannot hear it. They don't. So it is, like I said, I know that number one, what I created in Mexico was not for the audience I thought it was. It was for Generation Alpha. It was from the very beginning. You see, it was from the very beginning. I know this now. So my passion, and how wonderful that I can connect my passion, which is, teaching mindfulness and consciousness and going within, with my skill set as a teacher, as a curriculum designer, to put those 2 together. And then, so that's why I'm like, I'm sure, let me polish it up, let me be, led to make it the way it will be received out there. And it's coming. It's coming because it is needed. And see, I know that it's needed. I know that it's impactful. I know that it's useful. And my whole thing was I needed teachers to teach it.
Yeah. And that's a whole, because you not only you're teaching the kids, you're going to have to teach the teachers, because what they were taught. Oh my gosh! And
that's the problem I ran into. That's when I realized, that, oh my God, I'm asking an unconscious person to teach consciousness. Well,
I want to jump ahead here just a little bit, just because I want to know about, because we're going to revisit this. This isn't our last conversation. We're going to have
okay.
But I want to jump into the identity piece, because what I heard and what I learned just by listening to you is there was a shift when you were able to walk into your tribe in Africa. There was a shift in who you were. Even though you're 60 years old at the time, you've lived in America, most of that 60 years that you're there, with our culture of what it means to be, and what we've learned about our folks that have come that had to make it through that passage. But I want to kind of know, like, when you step foot and you cross that line,
Mm-hmm. And wasn't. I can't wait for you to watch. Make sure when we hang up, man, go and check out the video.
Okay.
I think it will.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let it do what it's gonna do for you. But here's the thing. It's the knowledge of knowing my native tongue. My native tongue is Pular. Now I'll never speak it, but just the fact that I know what it is.
Yeah.
You see that little piece right there, to know thyself.
Yeah.
When you know yourself, you know that that's the game changer. Dr. B, that's the game changer, to know thyself, and like I said, all I know is that the language is Pular. I'll never speak it. I got a book on it, but, just being able to know that, I was told, no, I think it was Dr. Cornel West.
Okay.
He said, I went to, when school was opening one year, he was the speaker for the, beginning of the year. And he said, Jewish children are taught 5 things from the time they're able to understand language. They're taught that they are special, that they are beautiful, that they are smart, that God loves them. And I can't think of the last one at that time, smart, beautiful. But so from the time they're able to understand language, right? So imagine a fairly unattractive 14-year-old Jewish girl, and someone tries to tell her, that you're unattractive, that you're not do you know how that bounces off of? Do you know that has no? She would look at you like you crazy. How could you?
Superman's death to be like, what?
That's like telling me that that the sky is green or something. Just they can't fathom it in their being. In their being, they can't fathom that. And so that's how powerful knowing thyself is, and what that game changer would be, to know yourself. And that would be, and my hope for all of humanity, not, that they know that they know that they know who they are. And therefore the distractions wouldn't possibly have a hold on them the way it does. I'm gonna read you, if you don't mind, because this is, you say, well, what is the 52 Insights about, right? In 2021, I across my platforms, I put out an original quote that came from either my blogs, my book, through meditation. These are original quotes that I wrote. Now, once you're given the quote, on the next page is a reflection page that'll send you to a deeper dive of that, and either an audio or a written blog or a video on YouTube takes you deeper dive. And then now with the curriculum, there's exercises as well that go. So each quote is a week. You spend a week gnawing at and taking a deep dive into the quote, and the very first quote, I dedicated this to Lakeside, and then a note from the author, it says, "Greetings, Gen Alpha." So I talked to them a little bit, but the very first quote is, "The Matrix cares not of the quality and purpose of your life here, but only of the quantity and how much you can give over to the system. You owe no one or no thing your life."
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I love it. Oh, wow. So cool. One of the things you kind of said to, my homework is to go watch your video, which I'm going to do.
I really want you to see that one.
Believe me, this is going to be the first thing I do. But one of the things I want to challenge you to do, because one of the things you said about you know what your language is, but you'll never speak it. I would love for you to go to AI and say something and tell it to translate.
You mean say it in Pular?
Yeah, tell it to say it back to you in Pular with your voice. And then you'll be able to hear yourself speak it.
Oh, wow. Get out of here. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, to go in there and say whatever your quote is, whatever your system is, say this in my voice back in my native tongue and be able to hear it.
In my native tongue, Pular. Say this the command is say this in my voice, in my native tongue, Pular. Yeah. Oh my good! Now I'm so excited. Now see, I can't do that until like I got the book Pular that I have with the language Pular and everything. It's back in Detroit. That's one of the things I need to go back and reach. But when I do, and I get back here and I finally truly settle in, I am so doing that.
ChatGPT might already know it. I mean, you might not even need the book, so you can check it out. We'll see how sophisticated it is. But man. And then to say that you'll never speak it is like, no, I'm going to, it'll be your voice, but it's, generated through a computer, but it's still your voice. It's still you.
Oh, how cool is that? That is so cool. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. So, but I'm telling you here as an audience, we are going to have more than just this one conversation. And, Queen and I are going to be friends for a long time. And I can't wait for you guys to be able to hear some of that. And so make sure, get your website out, give the information for us right now before we get into the next time till we come back again. People need to be able to get a hold of you. And I got something because I'm starting a community. It's called Becoming the Person Universe. Is the community that I'm starting, and it's all about personal development, helping people get to where they want to be, and that's going to happen all this month. And you are going to be one of our founders. You're going to be one of the people that are on there being able to share with folks that come into the community. So we'll talk about it offline a little bit and how it's all going, but I can't wait for you guys to be part of some of these conversations that are happening. We're going to even have a section that's just story time where we're just going to connect, where we'll have different people who get to tell different stories about their lives. And so, oh my God, I can't wait to have some more conversations. So give your website, tell us whatever that final thought is going to be. Oh my God.
Okay. All right. So the website is www.fula, F-U-L-A, American.org. FulaAmerican.org. So how cool would it be? And this was a thought too. You know how we say we're African American? Well, Africa is a continent of 54 sovereign countries. They have over 2,000 languages, over 3,000 tribes. Okay. So if you know your tribe and you can say, yeah, I'm American, no doubt, but my original bloodline is that of Fula. So I'm not African American. I'm Fula American.
Yes.
Whatever, put your tribe in front of the American, and here we go with a whole nother. So anyway, it's FulaAmerican.org. And there you will find the blog. It's just 16 chapters, my whole trip from start to finish, from Guinea-Bissau into Egypt, highlighting chapter 7 of me entering into and you will see me, I asked the guide, the repack, I said, can I hug him? when I'm first getting out the car. So Full American also on that website is 52 Insights. Just the background story on that, a little bit about, showing some picture and video. Even got a couple of teachers, who gave a little blip on it. I pulled what I could out of the pilot program, and then also just information about Fula, about that whole experience. Because also another tenet is to gather those Fula Americans, who are here and create a little watering hole for us to connect back to our villages, in Africa. You know about like the Masons and the Eastern Stars. Okay, they have sub chapters like Bells of Joy on the lady side. Anyway, there's a Bells of Joy chapter and an Esther chapter and this kind of chapter and that chapter, and they have a lodge where every week, like Bells of Joy are there on Monday and Esther is there on Tuesday, and they get together in there and they do different fundraisers and different things, within their chapter, but up under the umbrella of, the Masons, the PHA family.
Yeah.
Well, in my mind, I vision having an African Connection Center where Fula meets on Monday and Dojo meets on Tuesday and that tribe meets on, and they're having their own little individual fundraiser, whatever, but they're connecting to their villages, back in Africa. My tag is one light, one love. That's what I say at the end of my blogs. That's what I say at the end of my audios. Remember always, one light, one love.
I love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much, Queen, for being on today. Thank you for
having
time with us. It has been, oh my gosh, it's been so fun to hear your story and connect with you. If this is your first episode that you've watched in all of the Living Boldly with Purpose episodes in our Journey to Freedom, universe, that thing that we have, please go back, subscribe, hit notifications. You're going to want to know when she comes back to the show. You're going to want to know about the community. You're going to want to know about everything that we're absolutely trying to make sure that you have that connection that's going to be so meaningful. I promise you, in the next few years, you are going to see people that are flocking towards trying to be in connection, because it's the one thing that a computer or our lives can't do, is it can't create those connections for us. We're going to have to connect those ourselves, and we're going to have to be masters at being able to do it within our construct of the things that we're doing. And so, again, thank you for being part of this. I can't wait to see you on the next one. As I say at the end of all my shows, I guess I could say one light, one love, but I also say your God's greatest gift. He loves you if you allow him to. So please let you allow him to, be who you can be. I just wrote a book called Be Do Have. And it's all about becoming.
Oh, I love that.
Becoming the person that you need to be, and then so that you can go out and do what you were meant to do on this planet. And so, I look forward to talking with you guys soon. Let's go. Let's grow. Let's become. We'll talk to you on the next one. Have a great day.